Hi guys! So I have recently asked the question in my Instagram account if anybody would be interested in knowing what are my habits to study Japanese, and I actually got a pretty good response. So in this video I will be sharing some of those habits that include some books as well as a couple of free resources that I'm currently using, and I believe this will work for pretty much any JLPT level. So let's go! The number one thing that I recommend is discipline. And what I mean by this is to set up a very specific schedule in your very busy or non very busy day to study the new language. It doesn't matter if it's half an hour, 1 hour, 15 minutes, it's totally okay. But what I really recommend is to make it a daily thing. Unless something super extraordinary happens, it is very important to make it daily, just because it's very easy to fall into that trap of saying, oh, I will do it tomorrow. And then that tomorrow never really comes. It might end up becoming a never. So make it a daily thing and you will see that it's so much better. The other important thing is to divide your schedule into the 5 different categories that will help you become fluent in the new language, which is pretty much grammar, writing, listening, speaking, and reading. So to start off with the grammar, this is the book that I'm currently using. Is the Matome Doriru series. It's been very good because it has these multiple choice questions, and it helps me with kanji, it helps me with grammar points, and it's very good because it comes in for all the JLPT levels and the questions are similar to what you will find in the exam, so it has become of a big help to me. The other thing is that I don't write on the actual book. If you look at it, it's completely empty. The reason is because I rather have a very dedicated notebook for it, where I write down every single question and every single thing that I find in this book. It helps me a lot in terms of writing the kanji and writing down the new vocabulary. There is this saying in Spanish. Unfortunately, I couldn't really find something similar in English, but what it says is, the person who writes studies twice, meaning that whenever you write something down, it's way easier to actually be able to memorize it. That is also the reason why I love to write things down instead of just answering in the actual book itself. The other thing that I love doing is color coding. So for the most part, I actually use pencil because whenever I'm learning new kanji, there's the tendency of making mistakes, and I don't want to make everything so messy in my notebook. So I rather use pencil to be able to erase if I make mistakes and then write down again what I'm learning. But I do use red pen and black pen. So the black pen is for the English translations, and the red pen is to highlight things that I had never seen before or that I want to practice again. So color coding has helped me a long way. And finally, whenever I'm using this book, I also love to use the Imiwa dictionary app because it helps me to understand things a little bit more. It helps me to make more notes about new words, new kanji, and like that. So every time I'm using any book, I always use it along with a dictionary, and it's so much more helpful. This is actually the book that I'm currently using for reading, and what I like about this book is that the reading paragraphs are very similar to what you will find in the exam, but almost the same thing that I use with the grammar book. I don't write on the book itself. I write down every single word in another notebook, and what I do is I write down the first sentence, and then underneath I write down the translation. This book actually doesn't have any translations to English or to any language, so I had to really put a lot of thought into doing the translations. I also leave some space to add furigana for kanji that I don't know, or definitions, a space for definitions of these words, and then finally the translation of the whole sentence. And the reason why I do these translations is that it really helps me know how much I was able to understand the first time around. The other thing that I like to do is whenever I had to learn about a new cultural term, what I do is I look for the information online. I try to look for pictures, or I try to look for more words related to it, and that way really get myself immersed with the new subject, and it helps me big time to really grasp all those new concepts in my mind. The next thing that I start doing or practicing is my listening. And for this, I've been falling in love with the NHK Easy News. The reason for this is because they have the podcast and the manuscript. So I start by listening to the podcast first, and I kind of identify what I already know and what I still need to learn, and then I look at the manuscript, and then I'm able to figure out what vocabulary is like brand new to me. After that, I end up creating a post for my Instagram account with the new vocabulary. And the reason why I do this is because I keep my phone with me like all the time. So whenever I'm like, oh, what was that word that I learned the other day? I go pretty quick to my phone and I just open my account, and I'm able to look at the new vocabulary, and it helps me so much in terms of memorizing the words. So that's the reason why I do that. The other thing why I like this website is because since there are news, they talk about the hot topic. Like for example, recently there's so much going on about coronavirus, so I'm able to learn the words about sneezing and coughing and all this vocabulary that I might not learn during studying for my JLPT. So I learned it there, and then I end up seeing this news in other places like Facebook or other websites, and I already know and understand them better, so it helps big time. The next thing is writing. So how can you apply all these new concepts and vocabulary in real life? And what I've been using is italki. italki is this website that has a section called the notebook, and what you do there is pretty much you're able to write down a paragraph or a couple sentences, pretty much what you want, and you will have native speakers correcting your sentences or your paragraphs. And this is completely free, which is pretty much what I love so much about it. The other thing what I do is, after I get all these corrections, I write down my own diary, and I write down what they corrected, the reason why they corrected it, and I compare what I wrote before. It helps so much building my writing skills. For the last section is speaking, and for this I will actually be making a separate video because there is so much more to talk about it than just a small sentence here that I can say. But what I've been doing is I've been looking first for communities here in my area, and I started to participate in a couple of societies that have native speakers and that I've been talking to. It helped me a lot to build out relationships and be able to practice the language a little bit. I also have a couple of Japanese friends that I video chat with, and it also helps me a lot. The only drawback that I've been able to find with this is that usually you talk to them and they don't really correct what you do wrong. So one of the things that I've been wanting to try it out is to get a private teacher and see if that will help me even more. But for now, it has been a great experience to just have friends and talk about different topics and be able to kind of express yourself and improve your communication skills. I really hope this video was beneficial to you. If you have any more tips, things that you usually do, any other habits, please type those in the comments. I would love to read them. Also, if you haven't yet, please subscribe to my channel and give a like to this video. It will help me so much, and I will be able to bring more videos like this for you. Thank you guys, and see you next time.